Welcome back to the Blindsiders. I am Ben here with Brian to cover the finale, or I guess the second part of the finale of Survivor 47. We have our winner, Rachel Lamont, newest winner of Survivor. We expected this. I think maybe 6 weeks ago we were like, yeah, it seems like Rachel's probably going to be the winner, and we haven't really gotten off that train since. So
Yeah, congratulations to Rachel. I thought it was a good finale, especially since like they split it weird to where there's only one elimination for the whole finale. But I thought it was well done, well deserved win for Rachel. Don't really have anything to complain about this season.
you
It's
know,
like this is good. This is a good season of Survivor.
I think if I were to complain, but I still don't really get why they split the finale,
Yeah,
especially given that like the Rachel win was so telegraphed, and on top of that, like she wins final immunity like 15 minutes into this 2 hour episode. So like by like 8:15, I'm like, okay, we all know that Rachel wins the season. Like I just have to sit here for another hour and a half waiting for her to win now.
yeah. I mean, I think like a lot of us or a lot of fans were on the same train we were on, and equally we're like, all right, congrats, Rachel, good game. Don't really know what we're going to be doing for the rest of this time.
Yeah,
Or there's
we
some
have
drama.
a 45-minute arc about who's going to come in second between Sam and Teeny.
Yeah, which good for Sam, I guess. It is very like where the person who's like the front runner winner wins final immunity. It's just there's just no drama. There's no like, will this person win fire? It's very anticlimactic, I guess is the word I'm looking for, where it's like this is still good, but yeah, it's just like, okay, I will give the editors credit. They did a great job with the final tribal council, and obviously give Sam credit too for arguing his case. But they made me for a minute be like, but could Sam win? Like,
No,
does he have a
I
chance?
never got there. I never got
Never,
there.
yeah,
For
never got it.
me, it was like the highest, or like the ceiling for me for Sam, even during the final call council when he was doing pretty well and Rachel was kind of bombing a bit,
Mhm.
was a tie with Stu breaking the tie in Rachel's favor, right? Like I couldn't even like manufacture a fantasy where he got 5 votes from that jury. Like it didn't make sense. Like I was surprised that he didn't get Sierra's vote, but like it makes sense. I think like when you think back to Rachel's probably the one person in the game besides Sam that Sierra had any sort of social relationship with.
Right.
So like if she is gonna vote for somebody besides him, that makes sense. And to me, I think like regardless of what Kyle said in his answer in the to Jeff in the like fake reunion, it did come off to me like Kyle just voted for Sam to give him second place so that Sue wouldn't get second place money.
Yeah, no, I mean, like, going into tribal council is like, all right, Rachel's going to win probably by a lot, by like a good margin. Sam give good, you know, shot at it. And then, like, you get to the Rachel, Sam, Rachel, and it's like, okay, so she got 7-1. That is kind of what I thought was going to happen coming into this. It all makes sense. Final tribal council, you can't like win if you're that down, right? You can throw a Hail Mary, but you're not going to score 21 points with the Hail Mary.
It's definitely hard, right? Like I think like I think the closest that we've seen. I went back. I saw I saw like posts and stuff about this as well. Like when has Final Tribal Council ever mattered? I think like China is
I
a big
don't think
one.
it has never mattered.
No, I definitely think no. There are definitely cases where it's mattered, and then people have flipped the jury at Final Tribal Council, or people have legitimately come in without like a leaning one way or the other. Like I think even in the new era, like 42 is a huge example.
Yeah, right.
Of Marianne flipping the jury in her favor with the help of Mike throwing the final tribal council
Right.
spectacularly. But I think with Mike, there was at the very least a like a grain of people being upset, and all they wanted was him to like own his shit a little bit so that they could feel a little bit better by being outplayed by him. So that it wasn't like, oh, he's just like this like kind of, you know, goofy nice guy who happened to fall into this position. It's like, okay, no, he deliberately outplayed me and he like made these decisions on purpose, and I can feel good about giving him the win. But he didn't give that to him, and in fact, he gave him the opposite. And so I think that pissed a lot of people off and entrenched them further into their frustrations with him. Whereas I don't really think there was that amount of frustration with Rachel. It felt more to me like as long as she didn't like tell them all to go fuck themselves and die, like she was probably going to win.
Agreed. I think, I think someone like, you said Mike, someone like Coach, I think really didn't do himself any favors at that final tribal council in South Pacific. And Sophie, same thing as Marianne. Awesome. Like great final tribal council. So cases like that where the jury is open, they're not completely non-existent. So I don't love the narrative of like no one's ever like been influenced at final tribal council. They've all decided who they're voting for. There are definitely a lot of jurors who go into it being like, yeah, I'm voting for this person. And like,
I do think it's nothing.
Yeah. There's nothing that can dissuade me, but the jury knows the game. The jury like has seen it all. They've been to all the tribal councils. They've gotten the download from all the players who've come back. So like they're very well informed going into the final,
Yeah. No, yeah. I think some of the other examples that I saw people talk about besides like China and Micronesia, and the common denominator between those two seasons is Amanda Kimball, who is uniquely horrible at Final Tribal Council, and who arguably threw both of those seasons in the Final Tribal Council of each. At the very least, there was speculation about the jury potentially orchestrating like a 4-4 tie in Micronesia just to see what would happen. But because Amanda was so horrific at Final Tribal Council, Eliza in particular was like, I cannot in good conscience potentially give her $1 million.
Fair. Very fair, I think. And so I mean, how do we want to do this? Do we want to go blow by blow through the episode?
Well, I mean, I think the episode for me, like, there wasn't like a lot that happened, right? Like, it was a lot of like kind of setup. We get a little bit of the like, I think that the two important things to talk about are the like Sam Teeny dynamic that culminates in the Fire Bacon Challenge, and then also the Final Tribal Council.
Okay.
I don't think there's really much else to talk about unless you have other things that you had in mind.
I'm very impressed by Rachel's challenge.
Yes, yeah, of course. Like, yeah, also talking about
give that a shout out that what a beast. Like maybe one of the best puzzle people we've ever seen. I don't know if that's like a hot take or not, but I mean, tying the record for immunity wins by women, that's super impressive. And I mean, great company too. Like all of those players were like powerhouses in their respective seasons and eras. I mean, obviously Wiggle Wars comes back and isn't like quite, the player she was in season 1, even if she wasn't like necessarily playing a conscious game in the first season of Survivor. What was that?
Kim too. I mean, like obviously, it's going to be hard for her to.
Kim was just drawing dead the second. The fact that Kim made it to day 35 of Winners at War is so insane to me.
That's true as well.
Like I love Kim. One of my favorite players. Winners. I'm on Winners at War. I'm voting Kim off the first tribal council. Amber, no. Kim is leaving first.
Yeah.
Just be afraid. Like she gets any foothold. Like she's gonna go far, and then she did go very far.
Yeah. She went what, 8th, right? 7th?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. I mean, it's been a minute since I watched Winners at War.
Yeah, I know Sophie was 9th, and I know Denise was 6th. So I think maybe she 7th, but was actually 6th, but it was actually 7th because of
right. Yeah, something like that. Yeah, confusing with Edge of Extinction.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, shout out Rachel. absolute beast. So impressive there. But yeah, I mean, let's get to the Teeny and the Sam of it. And I think a super interesting story from a reality TV show, someone who's like on this journey discovering their like, I guess their gender, but like who they are generally and what does that mean? One for like this game, but this like experience kind of doing it super openly, in a very brave way, I thought, to be talking about these things at 23 as well, like so young to be like so conscious of what they're doing and how they're perceiving people and how their perception might be influenced by their life experiences. So like I just thought this is super interesting season for Teeny, even though Teeny comes in fourth here and maybe Teeny gets 0 votes if Teeny makes it to the end. I really, really appreciate the journey that Teeny allowed us to go on with themselves.
Yeah, I think that level of self-awareness, especially after some of the like blow up, like minor meltdowns of like previous episodes, to be able to sit there at the final four tribal council and be like, yeah, I'm projecting a lot of my own insecurities and issues with my own like the like subtext is basically that their gender identity is causing insecurities that they're projecting onto Sam because he's like the quintessential like pretty jock guy, works in sports, right? Like he's like the archetype, right? And a lot of the like kind of built up insecurities from Teeny's upbringing coming out, and just even having the like awareness in your own like the way that you're kind of approaching other people in the world to be able to announce that openly and be like, yeah, I'm treating Sam unfairly for these reasons, and like that's kind of how it's played out. Like I think that's really it's not something you see very often on reality TV. I'll say that.
Yeah.
Generally, reality TV stars are not that self-aware.
Right. And I mean, like, it's totally understandable because, like, on the surface level, Sam is like that. Everything that Teeny articulated, Sam is that. And I think, like, both of us as, cis men, but also like nerds and, not Sam.
Yeah, not Jax.
Yeah, not Jax, not like the handsome, like, prom king type person. Like we've obviously in our lives have gone through that. And now, like I think like we're both old now, and like
especially
we can
now.
look back at
I'm
our younger selves and be like, yeah, we were insecure in projecting that on people because like as you get older, you're just like you realize like, oh, they're just like regular people like you. They have their own lives and insecurities, and like they're easy to get along with if you're like projecting, also niceness to them. So like it was interesting to see that, on the screen here through Teeny's story,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, especially because we know through Jack, right, that like Jack is like quintessential like tall, attractive white dude.
Yeah, right.
Like that we're aware that like he played a live game with Teeny and they were like number one allies with each other and they went deep into the game together. Like this is not like necessarily like a something that's ingrained into their like being.
Yeah,
it's just something that come out in this situation on Survivor.
I do think Sam and Teeny start day one on the same beach. They might have a very different, relationship if they get to know each other. But like, when all you see is this guy at the challenge performing, like an athlete, you can kind of like build up a narrative of who someone is in your head,
Yep.
And then like at that point, it's kind of hard to shake your preconceived notions, right? Everyone talks about like making first impressions and how like first impressions can stick so hard. I think there's a little bit of that here too.
Yep, I agree. I thought it was good. I thought, you know, we talked about some of the editing foreshadowing with Teeny with the fire.
Right? Yeah, you really called that.
Yeah, the bag going on fire. Yeah, I mean, like last week, I basically laid out exactly what happened. The finale,
Yeah,
bar for bar.
I didn't see it. I didn't see the vision, but like you're
Yeah,
right. Yeah, you nailed it.
I said Rachel wins final immunity, ties the record. Sam beats Teeny in fire, and then Sam is the runner-up. Like that's like, you know, I got the jury vote slightly wrong because I, for some reason, like didn't I didn't like fully internalize that Caroline was obviously like hard rooting for Rachel and that there
Yeah,
was no chance for Stu to get a single jury vote. But like even coming into this final trial, I figured it'd be 6-2-0, so I wasn't that far off.
right. And like, I mean, I was surprised that Caroline rather didn't vote for Sue, but like you're right, she was really like openly like,
Yeah,
you know,
especially the
fist
final
pumping every like, yeah, every good thing. And in retrospect, it's like, oh, should have been obvious that that was not, you know, going Sue's way. But you know, she was such a fan of Sue in the game that I thought it would extend to the jury. But you know, I I think too, it's like I do appreciate it either way. If she had voted for Sue, I would have been like, makes sense. That's her number one, like the whole time. But the fact that she was like, I'm going to vote for who I think is the best player and who I also agree was the best player, I'm like, okay, yeah, totally like understandable there.
Yeah, and I also think as well, Sue, if we're going to get into some of the final trial council stuff, Sue very much did not understand the assignment in terms of what the jury was looking for from her.
Mhm.
I think, like, and Gabe even in like the jury speaks, you know, pre-trial counsel segment in the confessional outlines, I think the argument that Sue would have to make in order to get anybody to even look her way, which
Yeah.
is like that her loyalty was a deliberate strategy and not just like an extension of her personality.
Yeah.
But that was not a thing that happened.
Yeah. It didn't happen. So,
That wasn't a real thing that was a thing, and it wasn't an argument that she even pretended to make.
right. Yeah. No, you know, I mean, I don't think it was a strategy at all.
No,
So I don't
no, it
think
was
it
not. Of course not.
ever even entered her mind to play it
No,
off as one, you
no,
know?
yeah, no.
And you know, maybe Sue does better in an old school season of Survivor. But then again, she did get to the end here, so maybe not.
Yeah, I don't know. I think the like, I feel like we kind of look back on a lot of we do this. I think we do this a lot with like old school seasons where we're like, oh, this type of player would do better on an old school season, but it's like,
Mm,
would they though? Because like I feel like pretty quickly, you know, we get to a point where like maybe on like season like 3, like but like how old school are we going? Because
yeah,
like by like token genes, you know, everyone's already like openly mocking Coach for like a, you know, daring to pretend like Survivor can be played honorably.
yeah. No, when I say old school, I'm like season 10 and below. Like
Yeah,
so that's the type of where it's like the game is a game, but like there's a lot of people bringing their own morals and like outside perspectives into it that I don't think they're doing so much anymore unless they're like
I
being like weird and petty about stuff.
sure. I do think that uh, that deigns to assume that people like a general populace would consider Sue to be like that likable though, and it seemed like
True,
a
true.
lot of the players didn't.
Yeah, that's a very,
So
very fair point. So it would really end up right. Like, does Sue end up on the tribe that makes the merge and gets the majority
yeah,
after the merge? And then what happens? And so that's too hard to like even project out.
yeah, it's hard. It's like I think that, you know, we've talked a bunch of times about like the older players on Survivor and the statistics around it, and that it's like pretty much either you're out in the first few votes or you get to the like end game.
Mm,
And a big reason for that is because a lot of the time those older players are just not considered to be players. Like that's not necessarily always the case. Like I think Rudy obviously is a counterexample. I think like Scout Cloud Lee also kind of a counterexample of that. Like she was a very like strategic mastermind, honestly, in Vanuatu that gets appreciated. But like largely, you have like your Joe Del Campos that are like barely sentient players.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean that's really all I have to say about Sue in this episode. Like, didn't really do much. Got brought to the final 3. That's really it. What do you think about I'm guessing it wasn't terribly windy leading up to the fire making challenge, because we have seen them like put the fire making in a different area of tribal, like in Edge of Extinction, where it was like, oh, it's too windy, we need to like block it off a little.
Yeah, I mean, I think they should do that. Like, if this is a thing they're gonna keep, which it seems like they are, and like it seems like the production liked this fire making challenge, even though I thought it was the worst part of the episode.
Right.
I like, yeah, something has to be done with the wind, because the wind has consistently been like a major factor in multiple fire making challenges in a new era, and it's just like not interesting when, like, from a viewing perspective, it seems like Teeny was the one who was better at making fire on the whole, but like that's not really what's being tested. And there's also like a huge luck component. You know, maybe it's like a larger, like a larger commentary on the game of Survivor overall, where there's a large amount of luck involved that obviously has come up in terms of like our own discourse, the fan base discourse that came up with the final tribal council discourse. Like maybe they like the fact that like the luck of the wind is a part of it. I know that there's like I think they do like a coin flip to determine spots, or like, you know, you could potentially pick your spot. You definitely should pick the right, from the viewership perspective, right most fire making position, because I think that has consistently been the one that has least affected by the wind.
Yeah, I mean, it has to go through another person to get to you. So I think, yeah, like you said, I don't love that it came down to wind. That's not what I'm watching. Like, God, I hate the fire making twist so much. You got to add more like elements to it that make me dislike it, Jeff. Come on. A booth. Yeah. Give me something here. Give him a little hut that's open to the jury side, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I guess like the argument from like a production perspective is like, hey, if Teeny was there instead of Sam, then the final tribal council would have been a complete snooze fest instead of like only kind of a snooze fest.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, I guess. Yeah. I think I think it's just like, I don't know. I don't love that it came down to that. But also, Sam, dude, we're going on Survivor. You didn't. I don't get it, Ben. I don't get these people who go on Survivor and don't.
Said it every single season. You can go down to like Home Depot or Lowe's and buy one of these things for like $20. It's not like,
it's cheap and easy.
Yeah,
like just watch Survivor, see what kind of knife they use in this. Get a flint. Go to Walmart. They sell both in the camping section. They sell knives in like a case.
That you don't even have to go to. You don't even have to go to a hardware store. You can literally go to Walmart. Yeah.
Yeah, and just buy both and just practice. It's really easy. Obviously, in the moment, it's hard, like harder than just making fire with flint at home. But like overall, making fire with flint is not that trying.
It's not hard. You can learn in an afternoon.
Yeah, exactly. And so it's like, I don't know. When we get these confessionals, like, yeah, I didn't practice fire. It's like, okay. Like, it's like if I was going on Survivor and I couldn't swim, I'd be like, I didn't practice swimming. It's like, okay, well, you know it's going to be an element at some point, probably. Like,
well, but at least swimming requires like a decent amount of practice and training, right? Or if you like reached adulthood and you've never learned how to swim, like that's like a serious undertaking to probably like go and take a swim class.
Sure.
But like with fire, again, you can do it. You can learn in like a couple of hours. It's not hard.
Right. YouTube tutorials, though, tell you
Yeah.
how to make it, So I also feel like, I don't know, just generally, if you're going to go on Survivor, go watch some camping channels.
Mhm.
People will teach you how to do anything in the woods, and I feel like a little bit, and maybe it goes back to the people that are casting / the only people who can take time off are like corporate America people now.
Mhm.
And they're just not outdoorsy at all. But I don't know. It's not that important.
Yeah, we're also talking about a guy who had never eaten watermelon or pineapple before.
That was awesome. Yeah, day 26 of Survivor, eating watermelon for the first time in life. It's like, I mean, I'm not the most adventurous eater either,
Mhm.
but like, you haven't at least tried like every fruit at this point in your life,
Apparently not. I guess I don't know. I mean, look, like you never been to like a barbecue? Like,
Yeah, right. I don't like in the summer, watermelon's pretty like abundantly served at any
you
cookout
know,
anywhere. I don't know.
yeah, I don't know.
But yeah, I don't know. An enigma for sure. Sam and his eating habits.
Yep.
Just he must just be like a chicken tender guy.
Yeah,
Like
I think
chicken
that's
tender
you know,
fries, which I get it. Who doesn't love some good chicken tenders? But there's way more out there. When you open your palate to everything, you'll find some great foods out there.
I mean, I'm not even like a big watermelon guy either. I think
Mm,
watermelon's like kind of mid as far as fruits go.
right. Oh man. Yeah, we're really scraping the bottom of the barrel of this finale, given
Okay,
that
look, we literally like projected the entirety of the episode last week. Like, there's nothing surprising.
no. So I think the one very interesting part of the final tribal council outside of Sam's performance was Andy. Andy, I'm very impressed with. Andy's like so, and maybe it's because he's like such a smart guy, but like he has this really great ability to see the 5,000-foot view of how stuff's going to be perceived. And he called out the very argument that people have been having about Rachel
A
on
week.
Twitter in the moment while it was happening, and asked Rachel about it, which I thought
Mhm.
was awesome. Like, you're going to win Survivor, but you're going to win it like a couple of winners that you don't necessarily respect as winners. How does that like make you feel? How do you reconcile that? Such a great question.
Yeah, I mean, Mike Holloway and Ben Driebergen at home watching this probably like, what the fuck? But
Yeah. I saw a tweet where it's like, I think you should leave, where it's like, that sketch where they're doing financial crimes but also shitting on, I think, a guy named Brian's hat, and he's in the courtroom like, what the fuck? Be like, Mike Holloway at home right now.
Mhm. Yep.
But I think it's fair. Like, you got to do what you got to do when you're in Survivor. Like, if you got to win every immunity to win the game, you got to do that and not feel bad about it. But, I think all of us super fans, like Andy said, him and Rachel we go into these things being like, I'm going to be like the next great strategist. Like,
Mhm.
I'm so smart. None of these people are as smart as me. And then you get there and you're like, oh, maybe they are as smart as me. Maybe it's not going to be as easy as I hoped. And, you have to adapt. And like, I think in Rachel's position, my only response would just been like, I mean, yeah, you're right. But I did win those challenges. I did find those advantages, and the check clears either way from CBS. So I'm not going to like think too hard about it. I'm not going to dwell,
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, like, I've been critical of Rachel, and even last week I compared her to Mike Holloway.
Yeah.
So like again, when that got brought up, I was like, God damn, dude, they're just playing my greatest hits, bro.
Yeah.
Um, And yeah, I think like the Rachel Lucky argument has gone like way too far. Like in terms of like I've compared it. I said that she's been lucky. I know that there's like people who are like going the complete opposite direction and being like, no, she got with zero luck at all involved in her win because they're like that kind of deranged. But like obviously the truth is somewhere in the middle. And I think that my biggest issue was like I didn't really think she gave a great answer to any to like the questions Andy set up, or like the accusations of her winning by luck. I think the answer is like very obvious, and I said this in our text last night during the episode as I was watching it, which is every Survivor winner benefits from luck. It's a game that's extremely high variance. Obviously, like you have to have some base level of competency in order to like get deep enough into the game where you can win. But there is still like an enormous amount of luck. Like Parvati is lucky in Micronesia. It's a random final 2 instead of a final 3 when it had been established the last 3 seasons that they were doing final 3s. And the only reason that there was a final 2 is because of the number of medevacs and quits that happened in that season. Yeah. That's enormously lucky.
And lucky that Fair Play quits immediately. And lucky that Penner, the one person who seems to actually be like, we need to get rid of Barv, gets medevaced. Like, they're just things you can't control. Like, we could go to name any winner, Ben, and I'll tell you where they got super lucky in a season.
I don't know. Do like who's like a heavily like beloved winner? Let's see if we just do D, right, from like 2 seasons ago.
Yeah, D, got lucky that one. She was on a season where there was a disaster tribe, so she forms this 4-person alliance that doesn't necessarily need to get tested. She gets on a good swap where someone quits the season, doesn't have to vote anyone off, and then she's in a position where she's with 2 original tribe members who are loyal to her and against each other before the merge. She gets very lucky that Austin loses sight of the game and cares more about his relationship with her than and like you can say like, well, D like did that, but it's like, yeah, sure, but there's no guarantee that someone would fall for someone like that in a way to like kind of throw away their own game in 26 days. That's lucky that she got put on a season with somebody like that. What else? She's lucky that Bruce was out there as like such a shield in the early part of the merge. She's lucky Katora was like anti making any moves in the game. Like
Katora screwed up Jake's plan in the end game.
Yeah, there's just like so many things that like when you're not in her control. All that being said, best game of the new era, one of the most dominant winners of all time. So it's like, here's another one. Tom, maybe the most dominating winner of all time. He's lucky that the tribe shook out in a way where one tribe was just a complete disaster in a way that no other tribe will ever be again, never were before in Survivor history, so that he avoids tribal council for the most part. And then when he goes to tribal council, he has immunity almost every single time. And yeah, he won those, but like he got to the merge, like basically not having to play Survivor, right? Like, yep. And he's maybe the most dominant winner of Survivor. That's lucky. Like Oolong, Jeff being, Jeff the player,
Jeff
bodybuilder, rolling his ankle on a coconut and like basically like ensuring that Oolong was like going to not win an immunity. In my like in the challenge before that was like the wrestling in the water, and Jeff like dog walks everybody in that challenge because he's so strong. Mm-hmm. And then he med quits. Yeah, like that's so lucky.
Yeah, no, I agree. So I think that's like the argument that I think that should be being made. I think that the argument that I wanted Rachel to make, and I was disappointed that she didn't make that argument in like response to that kind of uh, criticism or like the argument that Sam in particular was putting forth, and she kind of just sidestepped it and didn't really like respond to it at all, and just kind of like brushed it off. And I was like, you got to say something. I mean, obviously she didn't
No,
have to.
she didn't actually. She was
Yeah,
like,
she,
I
she
actually don't
didn't
have
have
to
to,
answer
but like
that.
it would have been nice. Like maybe the final tribal council was edited in a way that like made Sam seem more dominant and basically showed all of Rachel's flubs and worst parts to make it seem like it was going to be close. But like, yeah, I didn't think that she gave a single good answer the entire tribal council.
Yeah, but let her game speak for itself, I guess.
Yeah,
she didn't speak for her game.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, where do you think in the new era, Rachel? I mean, so recent, like hard to say, but like, where do you rank her? Like, I guess top or bottom half of the new era of winners?
I personally would put her towards the bottom. Yeah, I mean, I think I've been open that I would consider Rachel like a lower tier winner. But similar, like in the same vein that I consider Mike Holloway a lower tier winner. And I think Mike Holloway arguably played better than Rachel. I think Mike Holloway had more consistent control for the first half of the game than Rachel did. He was like the leader of the blue collar tribe, wasn't blindsided at all until the merge, and then like made big social flubs in the early merge that put him into the position where he had to win out. I don't. There was not really that like stretch for Rachel where she had that sort of social control. So
yeah, and very unlucky for Mike that Kelly, who seemed to be like a great partner for him, gets idled out immediately at the merge.
Yeah.
And I think probably like leads to some of his bad moves where like there's not someone there to be like, Mike, don't do that. That's dumb. Like he's on his own post merge and he makes some bad decisions, but he does win. And it was exciting to watch him win that way, I will say. Like as someone who's like so clearly the next boot for like so many episodes.
Yeah, I think the common complaint is like that Jeff telegraphed the winner in a lot of his preseason press by being so high in the season, and then it was like everyone's like, oh, okay, so the winner must be like a strong alpha male dude, and it's like, oh, okay, it's Mike. Yeah, everyone like 2 episodes in was like, okay, yeah, Mike is the winner.
I'll never forget. I think when Joe gets voted off that season, Mike finds his idol in that episode. And at that point, he's in like a great position. And someone was like, only Survivor could edit like a straight white dude in the majority alliance finding his idol as like a come to Jesus moment. Like, obviously, we didn't know what would happen later, but it was just so funny. It's just like, yeah okay, great.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of anything else.
They don't have much. What do you think of the promo for 48?
I thought it was okay.
Crazy.
Yeah.
No John Levitt surprise like this one where I was like, what the fuck? Why is he on this season?
Yeah, no John Levitt or no Asia.
So
like it was not really like a
yeah, this is so exciting.
I think her name is Ava. She seems interesting. The girl who like plays male ice hockey.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I looked up the cast on Inside Survivor after to like try to like match faces to names after. Yeah. We'll see. I've heard good things from
that's good.
Looking at, like from press people who were there. So
when did it film? Right after 40.
Yeah, so 5 months ago, probably at this point.
All right, so that's in the can. 49 is gonna film this year, like this 2025 coming up.
This coming year.
And then 50 is also gonna film. Okay. I'm just trying
to
we
gotta be very careful around like July, August of next year for spoilers, because there's gonna be spoilers for 50.
Definitely. Yeah, I think if you want to play Survivor, try to get on Survivor 49, there's an increased chance that you might get right back slingshot onto Survivor 50 if you do well.
Mhm.
You know, historically, at least one player has been slingshotted back onto the next All-Star season, right?
Usually exactly one.
Yeah. So, I mean, that could be your ticket to being a Survivor legend.
Whoever the star of 49 is on 50 for sure.
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly. Like at least one of them will be. You know, I think Game Changers is a little different where it's like, this cast is so weird. We're going to put two people from Survivor 33 on it. But yeah, at least one person guaranteed will come back on 50.
Yep.
But also, if you're a big character, they might do two because it's so recent. Like the recency bias, I think, really pays off. Does Amanda Kimmel come back on Heroes vs. Villains if she doesn't come back on Micronesia? I don't know.
I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
I think like the reason that, you know, Parv, Suri, and Amanda were all on HVV is because of the Black Row Brigade.
Yeah.
I don't think any of them are on the Heroes vs. Villains, honestly, without Micronesia.
Right. Like James, I think better chance to potentially be on the next All-Star season as a giant character and just a giant man in general, like a very unique body type for, you know, that's why I expect Jonathan to be on season 50, honestly, because it's like, wow, they don't get many people like this on Survivor.
Well, there does seem to be like a jacked, I think he's a firefighter or something, or a fire captain on the next season from the preview. We saw the guy talk about how his like clearly roided out figure is because of chocolate milk.
Yep. Yeah. No, that's true. That's real. Chocolate milk can get you jacked like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they might honestly be casting him in the hope he does well enough to put him on 50 as a opposite of Jonathan.
Mm-hmm.
To balance the tribes out. You know, like Joel in Micronesia, where they're like, whatever, please, like, try to be at least somewhat like James.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but very few people were like James.
Yeah.
In the history of the show, I think honestly only Jonathan is like as physically fit and strong as James is. You know,
still never won an individual challenge though.
Yeah, not the right type of body type for those. But I still maintain the most impressive like strength feat I've ever seen on Survivor was him lifting the poles in the water challenge, where it's like you step and he just like lifted them and like brought his tribe mates to the other side. That was insane.
Yep.
Yeah, and why they don't let that happen in that challenge anymore anytime they've run it since. But not that anyone could do that.
Jonathan could have probably.
Jonathan could have. Yeah, I mean Jonathan was throwing his tribe mates out into
over like like when they had the like net challenge or whatever it was.
Yeah, and saving them from drowning in that other challenge where he's just like throwing them over the waves to get to shore, and they win by like 20 minutes, and they like make the other two just come to the beach and restart the challenge.
Mm-hmm.
That was awesome. But yeah, I'm so excited for more Survivor. This has been a great season and a great season of podcasting. I guess, do we officially announce we're going to do a Traders podcast, Ben?
Yeah, we can. I mean, the Traders is starting in like 3 weeks, right?
Yeah. Honestly, I need it because like I was a little sad this morning, like, Survivor's over. I was like, but the Traders is about to start. So, you know, this is really when we needed that reindeer games to come back. I don't know what the fuck CBS was thinking.
Yeah, I don't. It's actually crazy that everyone like was clowning on reindeer games when it was announced last year, and it ended up being really good, and people were like, oh, please bring it back, and they were like, nope, I don't think so.
Yeah, CBS cannot make a good decision when it comes to the Big Brother spinoffs, because like, why are we only doing Celebrity Big Brother every 4 years when the Olympics happens?
Yeah,
like we'll watch it, we'll podcast maybe about Celebrity Big Brother.
I mean, to be fair, Celebrity Big Brother season 3 was pretty bad.
Yes, agreed. But I just love reality TV, Ben.
Yeah, that's fair.
I just really love getting into it and, you know, seeing everything, all the people talk about it and tweet about it. So luckily the Traders will be like that. So yeah, well, what would we settle on the name for?
I can't remember.
See you at breakfast, I think it was.
Yeah, so it's only like it was like we'll see you at breakfast, something
Yeah.
along those lines.
So look out for that. It'll be Ben, Dylan, and I. Also, Dylan's getting into the traders now, which is very exciting.
Mm-hmm. We're gonna try to have some guests.
Yes, try to have some guests. We might be doing some off-season podcasts also. Dylan hasn't watched every season of Survivor, so we're gonna see like what seasons he hasn't watched. Do like a watch and maybe do like one episode of like talking about that and getting like Dylan's outside perspective, because Ben and I have been in these Survivor streets our whole lives. We can't really get an objective outside perspective of things. At least I feel like I can't, because it's like, Dylan shared a video with us where it's like someone recapping the entirety of Survivor in a video, like one of those like 3-hour videos. And I was like, I can't watch this because I know this person will be wrong about something. And I'm going to be like, that's wrong. Actually, this person doesn't know as much about Survivor as me,
Yep.
Which is ludicrous because like no one knows as much about Survivor as us. Like only the freaks, who are in the online groups that we have been in for years know as much about Survivor. So that's not fair.
Probably like less than 1,000 people.
Yeah, exactly. Like, yeah, the Andys and Rachels, like, probably, I guess, are the same level, but like, yeah, we're just like been an obsession for both of us our whole lives, and like, I cannot watch, someone do something like that in the same way I can't have an outside perspective of something that I'm this deep into.
Yeah.
So I think that would be cool to see Dylan give us that outside perspective.
It's the same reason why people watch like React channels. Is why we want to watch, get Dylan's, first Survivor season. It's like I've been engrossed in this thing for years. I want to see somebody's first reaction to it.
Yeah, no, I wish I don't think we could get away with streaming. Although some people did do that at one point on Twitch.
Well,
like
Will Neff still doing it. Will Neff is currently watching the most recent season of Australian Survivor on Twitch.
That's crazy. Bold. Very bold to do.
Mm-hmm.
Twitch is a little bit Wild Westy though.
So also, it's Australian Survivor, so it's like, it's probably slightly safer.
Yeah, I mean, there's just no way to even legally watch Survivor, Australian Survivor in the US. Like, you can't even, because I would buy a DVD, I would pay money to a streaming service to let me buy it or watch it, and they're just not doing that. So I don't feel that bad that Will Neff is doing that for that in particular. I'm going to be extra upset when this new season with Parv and Sari and Tony on it, I can't watch that easily, Yeah.
I mean, I'm going to find links.
We'll find a way. Don't worry about that.
We know people. We'll talk to people.
Yeah.
We'll get links. But it's just going to be annoying.
It's annoying that I can't just sit on my couch, open an app, and press play and watch it. That is annoying. And God bless the person who uploaded episodes of Heroes versus Villains that season of Australian Survivor every day to YouTube before getting nuked from orbit a little bit into the most recent season. They got away with it for a whole season, which was amazing. And then like halfway through Titans versus Rebels, they got destroyed. And I have not finished Titans versus Rebels because of it.
Yeah.
Because it really is just an ease thing. Like, I could just open up my phone, go to the YouTube app, and watch it,
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, that's probably also why you haven't watched The Genius, even though I've sent you the links.
Yeah, it is. It is so bad. But you know what, Ben? I'm going to be laid off soon. Maybe that'll be the time.
Yeah, you need to watch The Genius so that you can, so that if I don't get on season 1 of the US version, then we can podcast about it.
Oh, we will be podcasting about it. Don't worry. But
well, hopefully I'm going to be applying. So,
well, it'll be me and Dylan or me and Jack podcasting about it for the first season, and then when you're like legally allowed to podcast about The Genius, you can come.
Oh yeah, and I'll be giving the Better Radio affiliate podcast of The Genius the first long form interview if I'm on. So
That'll be amazing. And like, I see it happening. I'm gonna put that positive vibe. You're gonna get on the Genius. Jack is gonna get on Survivor 49, maybe 50 if he's the big character. It's gonna be great. And I'm gonna be like, wow, my boys are out there. They're fucking doing it.
Yeah, I need to film the video. I know what I want to say for the video, but I just want to figure it out.
Do it, man. We gotta. I mean, let me know. If there's anything I know how to do, it's make videos.
Yeah, I'm probably gonna do it over the holidays when I have some more time. So,
all right. So yeah, Ben for the Genius. Start the hashtag now. I don't know if that would be something that could get someone on the show that hasn't actually started yet, but if it can, I think you'd be great for any of these types of games, but especially a game like that. I'll hold out for the Devil's Plan US.
No, I just love the Genius so much. I've loved it since basically season 1 of the Korean version, and I've followed it since then. So
yeah, so a lot coming. Traders podcast, Genius podcast with or without Ben, and then with Ben later. Maybe a Devil's Plan podcast when that comes back.
Yep, season 2. So it should come back hopefully next year, right? At some point.
Right. And I would like to get back to podcasting about Big Brother. I think we can do it. I think we'll get it done. And streaming. Go to a Twitch channel. I want to stream more. I mean, like I said, I'm going to be unemployed soon. So what else am I going to do? Than make content for all of you. We very much appreciate it. Other than that, happy holidays. So get this on for Christmas. Ben, anything you want to plug?
No. I just prepare yourselves. If you haven't watched The Genius, go watch all 4 seasons. It's very hit me up on Blue Sky if you need links.
Yes.
Because I have the links, and it's a brilliant show, in my opinion, the best reality show of all time, and I'm very excited that they're making a US version. Hopefully they don't fuck it up like the Netherlands version, which was really bad. So it's high bar.
Yeah. And stay tuned for our own reality show. That's coming too.
Eventually, yeah.
We're gonna have more time to flesh out stuff and work on it. So that will be coming. And I'm so excited for it. So other than that, thank you all so much for listening this whole season. It's been really fun. We've had fun. We hope that you had fun listening to it. And we will see you in the next one for Survivor 48. Can't wait, Ben.
Absolutely.